Seed is the beginning of all food, feed, and fiber. Protecting plants from disease and pests is essential in ensuring the harvests of tomorrow. As seed moves around the world, the private seed sector is one of the actors in the effort to minimize the spread of plant pests and diseases. The International Seed Health Initiative, or ISHI, is a seed industry platform under the International Seed Federation. It brings together seed health experts who develop testing methods to ensure that healthy, high-quality seeds reach farmers who grow our food around the globe. Pea is a widely grown legume next to soybean, nuts, and beans. Pea is grown as a forage or field crop to produce grains for animal feed, or as the green peas and garden peas that we eat. A type of bacteria called Pseudomonas syringae pathovar pisi, or PSP, is a seed-borne and seed-transmitted disease that causes bacterial blight on pea seeds. There is no effective chemical treatment currently available to control this disease, which makes it very critical to ensure that the seeds are healthy before they are sown into the ground. The pathogenicity test to detect the presence of PSP usually takes a long time. A project by ISHI sought to develop and validate a reliable assay that allowed to reduce the time needed to get results and to release healthy seed lots. Valérie Grimault, who developed the previously existing method for detecting PSP in collaboration with Vilmorin, tells us why this is important.
I'm Valérie Grimault. I'm the head of the phytopathology laboratory of GEVES. I've been involved in ISHI for around 15 years, and now I'm a member of the method validation team. In fact, I was the project lead for this method with Rodolphe Germain, who is from Vilmorin. And first, we based it on a method with seed maceration, dilution plating on semi-selective media, morphological identification, and confirmation of suspect isolates by pathogenicity tests. But with the pathogenicity test, we had one issue. It's that it was really time-consuming, and there was a big lead time for the whole method due to the pathogenicity test. So also, not every lab had the growth chamber to perform it, and also the experience and expertise in pathogenicity tests. So as soon as 2012, so before the method was submitted and published, we had already the view of continuous improvement, and we wanted to start a new project to have an optional test with confirmation of suspect isolates with a PCR assay. So the view was really to save time and to relieve faster the healthy seed loss, while we were confirming only the PCR positives with a pathogenicity test.
So my name is Thomas Baldwin, and I'm head of the molecular detection lab in GEVES. So I've been involved in ISHI for nearly 11 years now. Actually, I first joined in 2010 when I was working for the Vilmorin seed company within the Limousin group. And I spent about 6 years working for them as a pathology project leader. And so I obviously was involved particularly in developing new molecular methods, both for the company and also then sharing and validating those methods within ISHI-Veg. So Pseudomonas on pea, we were doing quite a lot of testing. And we had a method in place for several years that had been also validated within ISHI previously, which involved isolating suspect isolates of Pseudomonas and then using a pathogenicity test on pea plants. Now that process was validated and was quite specific, so the result, we were fairly sure that it would be a pathogen if it's positive in the pathogenicity test. The problem was that test took quite a long time. You needed also a lot of space to test all of the suspect isolates. And so the aim was to improve that method with what we wanted to use as a PCR identification step to be able to have a result, the negative results, much quicker. So with a PCR result validated, we wanted to be able to say, okay, some isolates were completely negative, and then the suspect isolates, then we could then continue and confirm that positivity with the existing pathogenicity test.
So my name is Amandine. I work in the quality control department of Vilmorin-Mikado as project leader. I'm in charge of continuous improvement and development of new methods to detect pathogen in seeds. And we are based in La Ménétrée, a very small town along the Loire River in France. And I've working there for 4 years. And since then, since the beginning, I'm involved in the ISHI. So the objective of this project was to show that the new qPCR assay accurately identifies suspect isolates. So the aim was for us to validate it before to include this new assay as an optional step in the current protocol. So to do so, we had 2 tasks. To first to gather all data generated within lab during the developmental stage. And then the second task was to organize a comparative test between 5 laboratories.
It took 4 years and the participation of 5 laboratories in 3 different countries, France, Israel, and the Netherlands, to develop the assay and validate its effectiveness.
So the aim of this project was to validate the qPCR assay as an optional step for identification of suspect isolates after adhesion plating and before the pathogenicity test. So the analytical specificity and more specifically the inclusivity was a critical parameter. Indeed, the new qPCR assay must identify all strains and no false negatives were tolerated. So in this study, we evaluated 58 strains of Pseudomonas syringae pisi that were representative of genetic diversity, and all were detected. So the exclusivity, which is the ability to exclude non-targets, was less critical because any positive PCR result should be confirmed by a pathogenicity test. We also assessed the analytical sensitivity, but this parameter was not critical because we isolate the strain before identification, and the quantity of the target is not a limited factor. We verify the selectivity to see if there was a matrix effect, and with the robustness evaluation, we show that we could change some parameters such as the PCR equipment without modifying the results. So we show that this assay was robust. And during the comparative test, we evaluate the repeatability and the reproducibility and also the diagnostic performance.
Pseudomonas pisi is a very important pest for pea, and it was very important to have a method to detect it. And now we have a method which is faster than the former one, and that we have validated by studying all the different performance criteria. So it's a benefit because we can have a confidence in the results because of all this validation process.
So for me, the involvement, the motivation of people was the key of success. And also the guidelines provided by ISHI on method validation was a good framework, and it was very helpful to achieve this project.
Together, the project team confirmed that the PCR test meets the purpose and criteria for identifying suspect PSP isolates. This gives scientists everywhere an effective tool to prevent the spread of a disease where seed is a pathway.